What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse ranch, no hate. So, I want to talk about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder real quick. Seeing as how Deontay Wilder just, well, not just, he fought Robert Helenius a while ago, and he knocked him out in the first round. As I stated before, people always want to compare what one fighter did against another. So, you know, Anthony Joshua just fought him, and forget what round he knocked him out in, but he knocked him out cold, one shot, right hand. That's all he needed. Now, regardless, I'm not the type of person that I go by, this guy did this against him, so, if he beat him faster, that means he'll beat him. Maybe Deontay wins, maybe he doesn't, okay? But here's the reality. They both fought Molina. Look at, Anthony Joshua's performance versus Wilder. The first thing people would say, yeah, but see, the difference is this is not the same AJ. This is true. It's the same Wilder, though. And that's the thing. It's just the same Wilder we've seen him in fights get outboxed by guys that wasn't even that good. And then he just ends up knocking them out. That's the important part. It's just when you run up against someone that you can't catch the way you need to, or if you do catch him, they get back up. Now it's like, what do I do? Okay. That being said, look, Deontay Wilder is not a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. Yes, Anthony Joshua has become more cautious, but it's working for him. And the fear, as I said in the previous video, is the longer he lets a big puncher stay in there, the better, more chance this guy has to land. And as I said, the same way that guy has a chance to land, so does AJ. That being said, for the people that saying the old AJ would beat Wilder, they wasn't saying that back in the day. Now the people that were saying it, yeah, but the people that saying it now that don't really like AJ, but they're saying it because they want to discredit him. It doesn't matter what we say. The reality is what they're going to do when they get in there. The same way that Deontay Wilder, throws the right hand and can, and if he lands the right hand, yeah, he may be able to get AJ out of there. We know Fury doesn't hit as hard as Anthony Joshua. So we know for a fact that Fury, that AJ can get Wilder out of there. Now, let's just say they both can get each other out. Let's just say. The bottom line is this. If Wilder goes in there and overcommits and decides he wants to make a statement and tries to knock Anthony Joshua out, it might work. Maybe he's effective with it. Same time, it's even the bigger chance that he may run in there and overcommit, get caught, get clipped, and get knocked out himself. We don't know what's going to happen until the fight happens, okay? And at the end of the day, the reality is, boxing, that's what we want to see. Who's the better fighter? Or let's say, who's going to win? Okay, because the better fighter doesn't necessarily have to win. The better fighter can land a shot, But let's just be real, okay? And this is why something I pointed out before. We've seen Deontay Wilder get outboxed by Gerald Washington. Guys like Duhampas, Luis Ortiz. There was guys that was way up on the scorecards. Now, with the exception of the judges sitting there pretending they didn't realize that, in that first fight, especially that Luis Ortiz was winning, because I think it was the first fight that maybe one of the judges, I don't remember exactly what it was, all of them, how it went, had Deontay Wilder actually up, and people were like, what? Okay. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. The fact that you win is what matters. But the flaws that you have, when people clearly try to overlook them, but want to point out the flaws in another fighter, none of that changes the dynamics of the fight. It's just a bunch of content creators, a bunch of people getting together, giving you their opinions on what they think is going to happen. Anthony Joshua being more cautious as I said, any fighter, it's like, look, Pacquiao had a more explosive style than Floyd Mayweather did, right? So at that time, they could fight the same people. Pacquiao might knock them out in 2 or 3. Floyd might knock him out, 5 to 8. That doesn't mean Pacquiao beats Floyd. They fought. We saw what happened. Okay? Then people say, oh, but Pacquiao wasn't the same. That's BS. Oh, his best weight is when he was smaller. Well, Floyd was at his all-time best when he was, what weight was he when he fought Diego Corrales? He's lightweight, okay? So he still was equally as effective in the sense that his defense was so solid that he could minimize his punch output and still win because of his accuracy. And it's just everything, his overall package, and people are never going to give Floyd his full credit. Even though he's retired, he's still getting there and he's doing, exhibitions. Floyd is one of those fighters. Terrence Crawford may be in that same situation, and guys like Pernell Whitaker, where they're more appreciated when they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like right now, for example, you have people right now that hate Floyd. And let's just say there's a fighter that comes out that people hate more than they hate Floyd. And then people start talking about, nah, he's the real TV, or he's this, he's that. Those same people will be the ones going, he wouldn't have beat Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would have done this, Floyd would have done that. This is the things that people do. People actually that didn't like, I know people personally who were saying that they didn't like Pernell, but they hated Floyd so much they're saying Pernell would have beat Floyd, and it just, that's what people do. I don't get caught up in that. We can give keys to victory. We can say who we think is going to win. We can, what's going to happen is going to happen. We don't know that until they get in there. Look at what just happened with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. You don't know, what's going on. To me, Spence didn't look right, but Crawford did what he had to do regardless, bottom line. But point is, nobody expected 3 knockdowns and him to lose so badly the way it happened, regardless to what happened and why it happened. No one was expecting that. So my thing is, we can sit here and say what this guy has to do, what that guy has to do. Here's the reality. A fighter has to adjust to what's going on in the ring at the time. So I can sit here right now and tell you what I think or what I feel strongly that either guy has to do to win. But once they get in there, that's what matters. And at the end of the day, Wilder basically is a one-trick pony. So we already know what Wilder's going to try to do to win. Wilder's fought the same way forever. So even though AJ's not fighting the way he used to, what he's doing is working for him. And the fact of the matter is, he has nothing to worry about with Wilder. Just to be aware of the right hand. Otherwise, there's not the body shot. It's not the uppercut. It's not the left hook, the right hook. It's not the jab. It's simply the right hand. With Wilder, and the fact that AJ's being cautious, he might just get overconfident, like I said, and overcommit. He might land a shot he need to get AJ out of there, but he also has just a bigger chance of rushing in carelessly, thinking I got him, and get clipped. And like I told you, we look, we see AJ has crazy power. He always has. I always felt like I feel like he hits harder than Wilder because he hits harder with all his shots overall. And that right hand, I told you, I've seen him starch people, but the fact that he's a caution to, like, even at his very best, when he was letting his hands go, he still was a cautious boxer that threw combinations and boxed and he took his time, broke you down, figured you out, and get in and get his get that feel for what he needs to do. Whereas Wilder just backs up, patiently wait, and he finally catch you. And pretty much, like I said, we could sit here and talk all the keys to victory and who has to do what. We do not know what's going to happen until they get in there. We do not know the mindset. And you want to know something? No matter what people sit up and say, y'all can talk all that nonsense, and Wilder can sit here and talk all that nonsense, but Wilder knows AJ's a threat. Yes, even right now, and damn sure he knows. So, like you hear fighters people say, oh, that was an easy fight, and the fighter say, nah, it wasn't easy. It might look easy, but it's never easy. In that sense, what I'm telling you, Wilder fights cautiously. The difference with Wilder and AJ is that Wilder doesn't know any other way other than trying to go for the knockout. So he has that to where, okay, I will go for it, but he does it so predictable. And it worked all the way up until he got the Fury. So at the end of the day, he has one champion on his, well, two, if you want to, Bermain Stavern was a title holder, won his belt from Chris Arreola. They had 2 fights. And we know the situation with them. And if you look at where, Bermain Stavern is ranked, nobody talks about him. It's no different from Charles Martin being a champion as far as I'm concerned. Him and Bermain Stavern are that same level fighters to me. Hell, Trevor Bryan held the belt. Andy, what's his name? John Ruiz held the belt. So let's just be real. All I really want is for the fight to happen. I really don't care about the predictions and what each fighter needs to do. We'll get into it as time goes on. We know that the fight's going to actually happen. But, for me, I'll just say this. For Deontay Wilder, Wilder needs to be not reckless, but careful. He needs to throw his jab to the body, throw it to the head. Don't be so predictable with that jab right hand because, that's all he does. I'm not expecting footwork from Wilder. I'm not expecting anything other than what Wilder does. He's going to do what he does. He just needs to, not leave himself open. And when he throw that shot, he needs to throw it quick. And he needs to make sure that in case he misses, he's not overcommitting where he's either going to tie AJ up or slide out, And you rarely ever see him slide out of anything. He just throws the shot, and he's there to be hit, to be retaliated against. For AJ, do what you do. Same things you've been boxing, you moving, you get in the range, you got that confidence. You know you have crazy power in that right hand. And if you ever doubted yourself, now you know you do. And I remember AJ saying one time, I wish I had one punch knockout power in the right hand. It's like AJ. And this is where, even like with Robert Garcia and myself was saying, yeah, see, he's doubting himself. AJ has crazy power. I've seen it. Everybody's seen it. Robert Garcia has seen it. We all have seen it. It was just, you have to believe in you. And that's, even Derek James knows that. Like, yeah, man, like, you have to believe in what you're doing. And what did Derek James say? He told him. He's like, I'm missing it by a little bit. He's like, just keep throwing it. Because as you're getting in and coming in, the problem is it's not that you're throwing, it's the way he was throwing it. He was being too predictable. He was doing it the way Wilder does. Jab, right hand. And when you step, when you punch, once you make that first step, especially with the long range of your guy, all they're going to do is step backwards. And basically that's why he was able to get away from it, because of his height, and he was leaning back, and AJ was making it too, he was throwing it where Helenius was able to telegraph it. Like I said in the previous video, when he landed that shot, look at what happened. He came in, Helenius goes back towards the ropes, and he throws 2 shots at AJ. AJ kind of turned, move. He got caught a glancing blow. He came over top, sweet shot, got him out of there. He could have done that a long time ago. But now that he knows, like I said, them studying that and going over that, that's what he needs to do. We know Wilder pulls straight back and walks straight in the back in the straight line. And I think ego-wise, Wilder is not going to want to back up against Anthony Joshua. He's going to want to play the alpha male role, and he's going to stand there and want to bang. And, hey, listen, like I said, it might work, it might not. But at the end of the day, I don't care about all of that. What matters is what they actually do. You understand? What they do once they get in there. That's what it's going to come down to. So I believe that as far as who I feel can win the fight, I feel like they both can win the fight. It just depends, man. My thing is this. Wilder has no footwork. He has no combination throwing, punching, like no real combination ability. He just doesn't. He just throws wild punches, and he pretty much, everything is jab, right hand, especially if he's missing and he's getting frustrated because he can't box. Let's just be real. But what he's been doing has been working for him, and that's all he knows. For Anthony Joshua, it's not to be overly cautious, and the same thing. Don't overcommit when you throw your shots. Don't get desperate, but let him understand you coming in here. I got a right hand too. I got a left hand as well, and I can hurt you with any punch, not just the right hand. So, he's still the better boxer regardless, and that's the thing. Even though he doesn't fight the way he used to, he's still a better boxer than Deontay Wilder. But that killer instinct, it's not about let's go in here and just brawl. It's no, you go in there and you do what you do. But you have to understand when you're in there with the guy that's all he knows, at some point he's going to try to take you out, whether it's the first round, second, third, whatever, whether he try to hold back and wait, whatever. And we know that Wilder has no problem being outboxed. Wilder wait for you to start to make a mistake. So the thing for AJ is just to stay alert, stay sharp, be smart. That's it. Stay alert, stay sharp, be smart. AJ will win that fight. Because if you're paying attention to what's going on and you can read what's happening, Wilder is not a hard book to read. That's my whole point. So, that all being said, I'm not imagining the fight. I'm just looking at what these guys do. Because like I said, the fight can go completely different from the way we planned it. As I've used Spence and Crawford, for example, because nobody saw that fight going the way it went. So, I mean, what's the guy that just beat up Oscar Valdez? I forget to pronounce his name. When I see it again, I then it clicks. But regardless, what I'm saying, how many people saw that happening? I mean, he beat the hell out of Oscar Valdez. So people don't get it, man. We just had Inoue versus Fulton, and for the people that thought this would be a close fight, a lot of people did. Then you had a lot of people that thought that he'd get smoked. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Speaking as a fanboy is different from somebody that actually analyze and break down fights. The reality is, again, you just don't know until they get in there. But this is a fight that hopefully this is the one that happens. There's no reason for it not to happen. So I'm doing this video, and I'm probably not going to talk about pretty much. I don't have a reason to say anything about these two again as far as a comparison or anything until we get some more news about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Unless, like I said, something happens, or maybe something might, if something interesting comes up between the two where it's worth talking about. But as far as, them getting in there, that's all I'm concerned about, is that the fight happened. Not even concerned. That's all I'm interested in. So, I just want to see the fight. So, the hell with all the, what does each man have to do? The hell with all the who did what and who you think. And we can talk about all of that. But the reality, like I said, man, I'm not really here to make a prediction. But I'm just saying, if Anthony Joshua, just stay focused, stay smart, stay sharp. That's all. Just don't get careless. That's all. That's all. Because Wilder's going to be Wilder. I don't care nothing about him, hitting foam sticks and hopping up on little skinny legs, and training, and people talking about Wilder just added a new skill. Okay, hitting foam sticks is a new skill. And okay, right, they call that footwork. And this is not even to slate Wilder. This is just the point of that Wilder is just going to be Wilder. Simple. He's just going to be Wilder. So, AJ has to do what he has to do. AJ has to be AJ. Just like I said, stay focused, stay smart, stay sharp. Because if you're paying attention and watching what's happening, you already know what Wilder's going to throw at you. It's as simple as that. And you also know that when Wilder gets desperate, it's the same thing. He knows he's behind on points at some point, like I said. But Wilder depends on you to make mistakes. AJ just has to, box, but let him know you're not going to come in here loading up and I'm going to retreat. Like, we going to bang, when we have to. But at the end of the day, I don't see that fight going the distance. I don't see it going the distance. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't think it is. I think somebody, and the reason, look, is this. If that fight went the distance, looking at both men, for that fight to go the distance, it would mean both men are being overly cautious. And meaning there's no real fireworks going on. That type of power, with Wilder, it's just the right hand. AJ has it in both. But with that type of power, and you got a guy that's going to come there trying to knock you out versus a guy that He'll lead up to the knockout. He wants the knockout, but he'll be cautious, and they're both cautious to a degree, both of them. But at the same time, it's like, for that fight with that kind of power in the ring, that means they're both being overly cautious. There's no way that these guys are landing bombs all night and somebody's not going down. And from what I've seen, AJ has a better chin than Wilder, but let's be real. We've seen him get knocked out. When he got knocked out by Fury, it was one punch. I remember somebody saying it was a common. No, he knocked him out with one punch, man. It was one shot. Okay, and the reality is, too, for Deontay, this is like he hasn't fought in a while. So for him to come in there, like coming off that knockout of Hellenius, and this is the last person that, AJ just fought, he's going to want to make a statement, I would think. And I would think for AJ is more like one fight at a time, and it's not about trying to prove anything to the fans. It's about getting the win. And as long as you keep that focus and understand, I think AJ will be just fine. But you just never know what's going to happen in the fight because you don't know what the fighters are going to do. So I'm not here to guarantee you what either guy's going to do or how the fight's going to actually go. But that's just my opinion on what I see, my strong opinion. I'm not just saying things just to say it. We know what a guy has to do to win. It's about them being able to execute and do it properly. Not just do it, but do it properly. So we'll see how that goes. And for the most part at this stage, let's just see what happens, and hopefully that this fight actually happens and something stupid doesn't pop up and all of a sudden, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, we're hearing fights off. So anyway, talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.